David Duford here. Hope you guys are having a good day. This video continues my series of coronavirus related videos on addressing the concerns about how it will affect the insurance sales business. I feel like it's my obligation to keep everybody abreast of what I believe the systemic risks are if things continue to be uncertain, fearful, and hysterical as they are, despite how bad or how not bad the outcome of this virus will be. So today's topic is going to be covering what I believe to be 4 sales and marketing systems that already are having an immediate negative impact on these specific insurance sales marketing systems. So if you're selling insurance right now, you should really listen closely. If you're thinking about selling insurance, there's going to be a lot of people who claim this isn't going to be a problem. We're going to try to recruit you to the concept, but not tell you the truth, not tell you the transparency of what you need to be concerned with. So let me jump in without further ado and kind of tell you what you need to be aware of. So I got a call yesterday from an agent up in Michigan. And he's running Medicare supplement one-on-one appointments. And he also does annuity seminars as well. Now, he had told me that his buddy in the business that does a ton of annuity seminars had just booked RSVP'd, spent thousands and thousands of dollars on an annuity seminar, and 30 people had booked. And can you guess how many people showed up? 0. Not a single person showed up. So this guy is down probably 5 to 10 grand. That's how much these cost in expense to promote it, to get butts in the seats, and not a single person showed up. So I believe anything group context, any group type of prospecting models are at an immediate DEFCON 5 risk. I am even going so far, as you guys probably know, I do a seminar marketing mastery program. I am not advising anybody to buy that program or use it right now. You might be able to book appointments, you might be able to book seminars, but as I can sense, I don't have any, crystal ball here or anything in particular to solidify this. I get the sense that the hysteria level will increase. People will just opt to stay back. They won't go do things publicly. And we're already seeing huge shutdowns in a lot of different ways. So my advice is to stay away from any kind of marketing in a group fashion. And that goes with another story I heard too. I had a buddy down in Dallas who yesterday on a one-on-one basis, he closed 8 Medicare Advantage plans. He's doing really well. And he also has been doing seminars for Medicare as well. Same exact thing happened to him. He booked like 25, 26 people into a seminar and like 5 people showed up, okay? And that was for Medicare. Okay, these people have to buy a Medicare plan, right? It's a little different than annuities because that's kind of an optional thing, I think, and some people think in their minds. But with this, what is that? 20% show rate? That ain't good, all right? So again, the moral of the story here, if you're doing any kind of group prospecting, you need to start diversifying into another lead source. You need to start diversifying into another prospecting source. I don't think that the one-on-one environment in certain contexts, and we'll talk about that later, is going to be nearly as impacted. Again, it's March 13th. It could change. This is all very fluid. It depends on what the actual impact of coronavirus will be, not the fear of it, because right now the fear is what's driving people away from doing group types of consultations. So the third system that I think you have to be aware of is any sort of system that relies on, say, working in a business or group type of market, okay? So I talked to an agent yesterday. He's in the oil and gas business. And he was told that ExxonMobil, and maybe it wasn't Exxon, maybe somebody else, had completely shut down outside vendors from coming in and basically doing presentations. So I think this is what you're going to see more of. Again, there's going to be a level of isolationism that these companies will want to enforce to protect their staff and people and critical components. And if you're selling to big businesses, if you're selling in any kind of group capacity, this is going to be very concerning to you. May not be so much so in the business market, small business market specifically, but I would contend that small business owners are going to feel the same impact, especially depending upon the businesses that they serve. If there's a small business that's involved in the tourism business, the airline business, component parts of those businesses, you're in trouble. They're in trouble, and they're going to be less inclined to buy too. So that would be another model I would be very wary of getting too heavily into. You're going to see a lot of resistance in people putting off the idea of buying insurance. Again, not across the board. Find a niche that makes sense, sure, that's going to be different, but the ones that are immediately affected by this are what you should be concerned about. Now, last on the list here is, and a lot of you do this who are watching this or considering it, I tried to walk an agent off the plank earlier today, and that's mortgage protection. I remember back in 2011 when I first got into the insurance business that I had there was a final expense was what I ended up going with, but I did some research on mortgage protection. And prior to 2011, back in 2006 and 2008, it was a heck of a hot market. Everybody was buying homes. You could fill out loans and not prove any of your earnings, and people bought big homes, drove prices up. So there was tons of leads, tons of people buying homes, and people were very interested. The problem is that dried up as soon as the economy started collapsing. Okay. Now, I don't know what the extent of the effects of coronavirus are going to be, but my initial concern is that people will not make purchasing decisions in case things get worse. Again, that's what the stock market reflects, is the fear for what will come in the future. And sometimes that fear is overarching, sometimes it's underarching. I would contend right now that it probably is over the top, it's hysterical. But what that impact has on the consuming public, especially those who are just middle class, working types, their questions are going to go through their mind. Am I going to be able to keep my job? Am I going to be able to keep my house? Do I really need to make a move up to another house, or can I just, sit tight, see how things go, and proceed? And then if I buy a house, do I have to buy all the furniture that I thought I was going to buy? Do I have to buy this life insurance this agent's selling me? I'm young, I'm 50, I could wait on this, maybe see how things look in a year or two. This is the risk you're going to run into right now in the mortgage protection business. You're going to see less sales of homes if the economy continues to collapse. You're going to see people, especially in the most affected sectors mentioned earlier, lose their jobs, and that means less people will keep their policies even if you sell them. And any of the retail sales, direct-to-consumer, with a focus on employed people is going to be the biggest red flag that you really need to avoid. So all of this said, there's still plenty of opportunity in this business, okay? And I feel like it's my obligation, whether you would work with my agency or not, to know what that opportunity is. Right now, I still see, first of all, face-to-face sales being much more good, approachable, applicable than group sales for sure. So my advice would be still work one-on-one with people. People still will need insurance in certain hot, fundamentally sound sectors. And that leads me to what I believe is going to be, especially with this coronavirus thing, the biggest opportunity going forward, and that is the senior insurance market. Now, why do I like the senior market? Why do I think it won't be that affected relative to other insurance markets? Well, first of all seniors will still, at a pace of about 11,000 a day for the next 10 to 20 years, are going to turn 65. And that life event means they need to do something about their Medicare, either with a supplement, a prescription drug plan, or a Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan. So people are going to be making purchase decisions about Medicare because health insurance is kind of important, especially if there's such level of disease and contagion out there, right? So the opportunity for Medicare is going to remain the same. What may change is the method in which you prospect for the business. But right now, I don't see wholesale one-on-one meetings with strangers as being kind of like a knockout thing that you can't expect will actually work. I think it'll work just fine. With that, some people have been expressing concern about final expense. Is that still going to be a viable option? I think you're going to hear some more objections. I covered that in the video the other day about coronavirus and concerns and that kind of thing. I think that can be mitigated for the most part right now. But my argument for you as far as why I think still final expense is still a safe play is because final expense sales are based on predominantly people who are on a fixed income. Again, if you look at some of the biggest final expense companies like Lincoln Heritage, if you go look at their total production volume, they weren't like a lot of companies between 2007 and 2015 that lost an incredible amount of money because of dwindling sales. They grew double digits year over year right through the Great Recession. And why was that? Because of the fundamentals of the senior market. More people are retiring. More people are getting to the age where they can avoid not having insurance. And guess what? They're retiring with a hell of a lot less money, if any at all. And so the need for a life insurance plan to protect for final expenses is critical. So I think the final expense market face-to-face is going to continue to be a good opportunity. I will say as an aside, I think telesales as a whole will be more appealing if things continue to ramp up, especially in these product lines that are still good opportunities that are fundamentally sound, like senior markets. You're going to see more telesales for sure. And then last but not least, I think the annuity market's going to be fantastic too. If not for just the reason of how the stock market's gyrating back and forth every single day, it is making retirees queasy because they have no control over what's going on in their portfolio. And many of them just don't understand the power of fixed index annuities, let's say, for example, or any annuities, in protecting principal and what the benefits are. And you pose a great opportunity in showing them these simple yet profound solutions to protect against their biggest fears, which is outliving the money that they've worked so hard to set aside. So bottom line, that is my last little bit of sayings on how the biggest concerns are in coronavirus. Hey, honey. Say hi.
Hi.
And yes, all the kids are home from school. If you've got any thoughts on business models you want me to ask me about and kind of think, okay, is there still viability in this business model? You're welcome to ask me. I'm happy to do so. And let me know your thoughts. If you think I'm wrong, that's fine too. Post them below. But keep your heads up. Just like Madonna, you got to remake yourself sometimes in order to stay relevant. You can't rely on the model of whatever worked in the past when the environment changes, and that may be what we're looking at now. Again, if you're any of these business models I've aforementioned, be cautious. Consider an exit strategy or a diversification strategy at its minimum in order to continue to make sure that you'll have more business and continue to write business where people actually can buy it and want it. If you'd like to learn more about my agency, you can go to davidduford.com, click Join Dave's Agency. Again, my specialty is in the insurance business for the senior market, and I help agents learn how to sell final expense. What else do I do? Medicare and annuities. How to do top producing efforts in those and get the training necessary and leads to do so. Thanks for watching. Keep your heads up, and we'll see you next time.